Well, there's the notice that we're being live streamed, so
Just got it.
I think we're good.
Good to go. Okay, folks, let's begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Well, there's the notice that we're being live streamed, so
Just got it.
I think we're good.
Good to go. Welcome, everybody. Again, let's have a pledge. If we may, Pledge of Allegiance.
Well, there's the notice that we're being live streamed, so I think we're good.
We're good. Let's do the pledge.
And you need to mute yourself.
Again, let's have a pledge. If we may, Pledge of Allegiance.
Well, there's the notice that we're being live streamed, so I think we're good.
We're good. Let's do the pledge.
And you need to mute yourself.
Okay. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ask them to let me in.
Could you let Karen in on her other computer?
All right. Awesome. Okay. We're working on it, Senator.
All right, thanks.
I'm in the YouTube now. I'm not in the meeting.
Well,
and then
okay.
Someone let Delegate Cox in too. Sorry, Mr. Chairman.
Hi, could
He's in the waiting room.
turn again? Sam Rouse. Yes.
Austin. Wait a second.
Yes, it's this Frederick delegation meeting. It's been held from the get-go.
Hi there, everybody. I don't have anybody in the waiting room right now.
Well, okay.
Oh, here they are. Never mind. There they go. Sorry about that.
Good morning, Delegate Cox. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. It's good to be here. It's I don't know if there's a way when you're in the waiting room to let you all know that I'm in the waiting room, but that's where it was. So thank you very much. Good to see everybody.
All right. Well, we have the quorum plus, and we have here an agenda, and I want to thank Delegate Kerr for working on that agenda with a few other folks. It's well done. First order of business is a discussion of up and coming meetings. And basically, as far as that's concerned, from now through February 25th, if there's no objection, we can continue to meet on Fridays at 0900. Any major problem with that? I'll repeat it. Now through February 25th, it would be good to meet same time, Friday.
So
AM.
I'm just letting you know, I'm going to have a problem because my committee is going to be voting on Friday mornings. So if they stay on Friday, I guess I'll just have to do the best I can and pop in and out to vote as needed.
All right. Any other problems with any other distinguished member? All right. Well, if that's the case, then as far as upcoming meetings are concerned, up through the 25th of February, we're meeting on Fridays at 0900. Second order of business is meeting with the federal delegation. And Delegate Kerr was gracious enough to brief me on this. And Delegate, would you like to continue to brief on this issue?
We were contacted by Senator Van Hollen's office and Congressman Trone's office that they would like to meet with us. I suggested with Chair Ciliberti that we extend the invitation to to the rest of the federal delegation, Senator Cardin and Congressman Raskin, see if we can find a date when they can all come and arrange that for one of our upcoming delegation meetings. I see Nan Mann is here from Senator Van Hollen's office today. Anyway, that's something that we've reached out to the other congressional federal delegation and arranging that now.
Right. Trying to get the House and Senate folks here. And if we can figure one date that all of those good people can agree upon, that'd be great. Okay. So,
Mr. Chair, Delegate Lewis Young is.
Yes, I see. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yes, Delegate Karen.
Sorry, my raise hand function isn't working. Could we just prioritize our bill hearings first and do the federal delegation a little bit later in our agenda? Because I'm concerned if we don't get those bills moving quickly, that they're going to be DOA.
I have no objection to it. Does anybody else? All right. So Delegate Young, state your issue again, please.
That we have our meetings with the federal delegation a little bit later, like towards mid to late February, so that we can do local bills first.
All right. Is that a motion?
That is.
Sorry.
Yes, that is.
Second?
Yeah, I'll second that. We can arrange for them to come later.
All right, there's a motion on the floor and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, unanimous. So we'll work on that. Now, the next item on the agenda is the meeting with Frederick County and the city. And well, we've got several pieces of legislation with Frederick County. As far as the city is concerned, there's this $250,000 issue as far as seed money, as I understand it, for a police station.
They got that. It's in the capital budget.
It's done.
Well, I mean, it's still got to go through us, but there's nothing to be done on it further.
All right. Any other comments on that with respect to the meeting with the Frederick County, which we have done quite a bit, same legislation?
I mean, I have a comment. I don't think we need to meet with the county again. We just need to whatever's left to do in their legislation. I thought we actually moved a couple bills right there when we had our initial hearing. And I think we just need to move the rest of their bills that we haven't. But we don't need another meeting with the county.
I second.
Any other comments? That's a movement seconded. Any comment, discussion on that issue?
Mr. Chairman, I think what we're trying to do here is just pick one of these delegation dates where we're going to take up these county bills, and probably sooner rather than later.
I think we really need to do that now. The drafting deadline's passed, so I put everything that was requested in on my side so that it wouldn't get lost. But if we need to decide whether we're going to actually do them or not, so that we can pull the ones that we're not going to do.
All right. Delegate Pepe.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, so the House drop deadline was that February 4th, I think? So we have to vote on whatever delegation bills we want, like now, because we have to drop those bills in order to guarantee a hearing. And I know that there were a couple pieces of legislation from different groups, so I don't know if we're going to talk about that now, and we need to work through that now because we are on a time constraint. I don't know what next Friday is, what day of the month that is, but next Friday, 28th. So the 4th,
February 8th.
following Friday. So I guess we'd have to vote at a minimum on whatever we're going to do as a delegation by next Friday so that we can drop the bills before the following Friday. And again, if we're virtual, someone's going to have to be in Annapolis to actually physically drop those off. So just food for thought.
I'll be there. Yes, Karen. Delegate Young.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. At a minimum, the one bill possibly we could move on today is the Board of Ed bill, which is identical to last year's bill, which we moved unanimously last year. And if the delegation was willing to do that today, at least we could get that going.
Okay. Iterate that bill again, please.
It's the Board of Ed process for replacing a member who resigns during their term. Steve McKay authored that bill. It got stuck in Ways and Means because of a misunderstanding, and I've been guaranteed that they're gonna move it this year. But there's new leadership there, so you don't want to take a risk by getting it in too late.
All right. Is there a motion for that?
I'll move.
Okay. Parliamentary procedures, we have a second.
And
Thank you. All right. So there's a motion on the floor, and state it again, please, Delegate Young, so we know what we're voting on.
The motion is that we proceed to move the Board of Education member methodology that we approved last year unanimously.
Okay. Any discussion? Very quiet. Okay. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Negative. Landslide. All right. Thank you, Delegate Young.
Thank you.
Anything else on that issue before we move on? Okay. The next item of business on the agenda would be the meeting with the Liquor Board. Of course, that's been done, has it not? Delegate
again,
Carr?
Mr. Chair, I think we just have that in there to invite the Liquor Board
To what?
when we discuss their bills, just in case we need additional clarification. But the purpose of that meeting would be to move those bills. Delegate Pippi wants to be recognized.
Yes, sir. Delegate Pippi.
Thank you. So we had I briefly spoke with Delegate Kerr about it. There were two motions that we had in votes in the previous delegation meeting on two technical bills. One was with just some language of the greater fraction thereof, and the other one was a renewal date that we as a delegation voted unanimously to, I guess, move forward. Did the delegation submit, did either, I guess, the chair or the vice chair submit those for drafting by the deadline?
Well, best of my knowledge.
Senator Young has some information.
Where are you? Oh, yes, Senator Young.
Yeah, I submitted for drafting 4 alcohol bills. I submitted the update that they wanted. I submitted the one on eliminating the fractions. I submitted a request from Long Shots that there be distance between where those facilities are located. And I submitted one we haven't discussed yet, but is very simple. Had a request to make the tip jars in the clubs electronic. Nothing changes. They still have the tip jars. They're just electronic instead of manual. So I submitted those 4 for drafting so that they're there if we want to do them. And I submitted everything on the county side for drafting so that it's there, and then we can decide whether we want to do them or not. And if we don't, we'll pull them.
Okay.
So I did, Mr. Chair. So I did, just as a precaution, I did the 2 liquor board bills just to make sure that they were done. The greater fraction thereof, and then the renewal date. There's the 2 simple ones. So I'm glad that Senator Young put those in too. Do we want to wait until the drafts come back and vote on those officially next week, or do you want to do that now? What do you guys think we should do?
What's your thought on it? What are your thoughts on that, gentlemen, ladies? Do it now or shall we wait?
I frankly would like to vote on anything we can now, so we're in agreement on and get rid of them.
All right.
Which are the 2 that we already passed?
We did, one was, there was some mistaken language when they converted Article 2B to the alcohol regulation, which just says, so we voted on that, and that's an easy one. It just literally removes 3 words. And then the other one was extending the renewal period. Right now, you have to renewal between I guess March and April. It's like 1 month to renew 3 devices. They moved that to January to April, so it gives everybody more time. So those are easy.
So the remaining 2 that we didn't vote on are which?
The tip jar and then long shots. We didn't vote on those yet.
And the updated language.
Oh, the language for the fraction?
We voted on that.
Yeah, but they had a whole submission of technical changes that I think we had to submit.
Oh, the technical correction bill. Yeah, that was I'm surprised we didn't move that. That's an easy one.
I just got an email or a text from Chris, who took minutes at the last meeting, and he said we approved a coffee bill. I don't recall that.
Yes, we did.
Okay.
Java bill, yeah.
Which bill again?
One of the branches.
Hold it, Delegate. Yeah, Karen Young, what was that bill again, please?
Coffee bill?
That was the Board of Education. And actually, I should drop that if it hasn't been drafted on the Senate side. That was the one that just allowed the special needs students to be able to sell caffeinated beverages in the morning.
Now I remember it.
Okay.
I think there's a couple alcohol bills that didn't get dropped on both sides, but I think all of them got dropped on at least one side. So they can, if it didn't get dropped on the other, they'll come over. So we do have them covered.
Good. All right. Delegate Pippy.
Can we, just to save everyone time, can we just officially move the 2 we already voted on at the last time, which is the renewal date and the greater fraction thereof one? I mean, I guess we officially approved those last time, but now that we've at least applied to have them drafted, we can,
I think we're good.
I think we're good too. We already did them, yeah.
So then we don't need, so then that's official. We don't need to do anything with that. Okay.
Right.
Good. All right. Any other comments before we move on?
I did draft up the coffee bill. I got it drafted in the Senate.
Okay. Delegate Young.
No, I was just putting thumbs up.
Oh, your thumbs up. Okay. All right. The next item on the agenda, if we're through with this, any other comments? Hearing none. Capital budget briefing. Well, let's see.
Hold on. Can we go back before we skip through it on legislative items? Because there's a couple more. There's a couple more left. I've got the sheriff's salary bill, which I brought up and circulated. We need to discuss that. Everyone should have received, if not, an email with more information from my office about they'd asked for. I haven't got it from Charles County, but I sent around. They wanted to know the number of employees for Frederick versus Hartford County. I sent that around. And then I also am going to have a bill, should be very easy. Lake Linganore wants a golf cart authority. So I have a bill I've already had drafted on that. I'd like to get that going. And then the last one, I know Delegate Krim has a bill because she asked me to cross file it, dealing with that issue of the county's property tax payments. So I don't think she's on here, but I'm sure she's going to want that brought up and voted on.
All right. Which one do we take up first? Senator?
I think we need to put those on an agenda and make that public before we have discussions on those.
That,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it has to be done. You're right.
And we have 3 bills on this agenda. All of which, well, there's 4 on the agenda, but one's going to be statewide, but I had all 4 drafted.
All right. I don't have those bills in front of me, so can you help us with that?
Well,
Senator?
they're on the agenda I have here. There was the forest conservation bill, which I was put in as statewide, and I don't know if we're going to go forward with that statewide or not, but it's drafted or being drafted. The marriage ceremony fees, the vacant burial lots, and the, well, I think somebody mentioned the special elections. Yeah.
Okay.
So if I could maybe to move us along, since those are on the agenda, if the forest conservation is statewide, then it sounds like we don't need to take that up.
Right.
So then we're good on that one. I would move on the vacant burial issue. Senator Young, we talked to this yesterday. I actually think that's more of a statewide issue. And I think we should just basically send a letter to the chairs that have jurisdiction and any committee that oversees this kind of thing. Because I don't think Frederick County, we want special laws or different laws differing than the state as far as how you deal with burials and plots. And I just think that's just statewide issue. So I would just move that we just send the group that brought that issue forward their concerns to the correct people, but we not move forward with local legislation on that.
Second.
That's comments. Moved and seconded, comments mixed. It's common sense to me that anything that deals with vacant burials is a statewide issue rather than county. No question in my mind.
Yeah, and I just want to be on the record that I don't support that legislation at all. So,
well, just for the record,
I don't want to sign a letter passing that to this.
I'll put it this way: the letter, this can be this way. If this would,
I want to sign an endorsement.
It would say that this issue has been brought up from a constituent in our area. We're bringing it to your attention. That's literally all I'm suggesting that we do. We just forward it to the appropriate people. But I think it's a statewide issue. It's not a local.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
all right. Well, Senator Pippy's good with her. Senator Pippy is what I said. Prognostications. All right. Well, we move on that, the vacant burial concept. Do we have a motion?
There was a motion and a second.
All in favor?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
just a point of order. I just have a question about whether it's appropriate for us to vote on items that were not on the published agenda.
That is on the agenda.
Not that we were going to vote, just that we were going to arrange meetings for those things.
Yes.
No, that's not what it says.
My agenda is obviously different from what you're reading from. Continue on, Senator Young.
Yeah, my agenda says proposed legislation, period. That means we're discussing it and we could vote it.
That's not on the agenda that we published to the public.
Oh, I didn't know there were two agendas.
Well, it seemed to be.
Which,
well, let's just, how about this? We'll, I mean, we're being live streamed right now. I'm not sure, but we've got a motion in a second. I don't know that there's an issue or not, but, and we're all struggling in the live stream age of how we do this. Typically though, we would, when the delegation meets, we typically would move something one way or another. So.
Well, as Delegate Kerr was pointing out, we have a Frederick County delegation agenda here, and seems to be a small problem with that. However.
All right, well, here's an idea then. How about I'll revise my motion not to put the burial fees on a future agenda.
second.
Really? All right. All in favor? Well, first of all, discussion on that, please.
Yeah, we can still send the letter without a motion.
Yeah.
Not true. Okay. So where do we go on this one? Time to vote. Let's see, Senator, you want to restate that?
It's just that we don't need to schedule for the future agenda for the burial lots issue.
All right. So do we want to vote on that now?
Sure.
All right. Is there a second?
Delegate Pippi seconded it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hands aye. Opposed? Negative. All right, that has passed unanimously.
I'm a little confused. Could you tell us what the other agenda says?
The agenda says basically meet with the liquor board. The next one is a capital budget briefing. These are macro titles. We have not dealt with anything with specificity here. As far as the agenda, the delegation agenda that was handed me.
You should,
Delegate Kerr and I went over this last night.
Mr. Chair, one,
Delegate Kerr.
we also need to put on a future agenda the 22 transportation bills. Make sure that that gets scheduled and published to the public so we can take those up at a future meeting.
Oh,
All right.
that's good. Could I make a suggestion for future agendas? If we put something on the agenda, we ought to be able to vote for it. There's no reason, we've already met on this thing once. There's no reason to meet on it again and then meet on it again to vote. It's just occupying time and causing delay.
I would second that. I would put every bill on the agenda going forward just so we can get through. We're going to have to get through every bill in the next 2 meetings.
All right.
It's actually not a bill. It's the 22 transportation agenda.
Well, we were talking about all the other bills too.
I'm sorry, it's the 2022 transportation priority letter, not a bill.
Okay, what do we do with the priority letter? What would you say?
We did have a request from the public that we put that published on a future agenda so that we can allow for public comment prior to working on that.
Yeah, and the county always comes in every year. They'll brief us on what the county executive will brief us on what her priority list is. We have questions and then we get feedback. And if we have, that's our chance too, as a delegation to ask for and put our input in it, because the delegation has to sign, or the chair will sign off for the delegation on that. So we do have to do a hearing, but that can be later in the session.
All right. Any other comments?
Mr. Chair, I'm going to suggest.
Yeah, Delegate Pippi.
Just going to suggest it may. I know sometimes there's last minute stuff, but maybe for next meeting, any bills that people have, I think bill drafting should have them drafted by now, by next Friday, to have them ready to be voted on next week. So anything that's left over that we haven't voted on, to have them ready to rock and roll for next Friday. Maybe we put that specifically on the agenda to actually,
David Morgan.
Yeah. Good morning, everybody. My name is David Morgan. I'm counsel for the delegation this year. I'm also a bill drafter, so I can speak to this a little bit. The drafting deadline is Monday for all bills. But if you're hoping that everything will be ready and you'll have backings for everything by Friday. We as a department cannot promise that. The drafting deadline is Friday, and then reviewing and editing, we have thousands of bills to go through. So we're moving them as fast as we can, but we cannot promise that they'll be ready by next Friday.
We've already passed drafting deadline.
No, the drafting deadline is Monday. The deadline to request bills, on-time bills, has passed, but the drafting deadline for our department is on Monday.
We missed getting a bill in and we're told we couldn't put it in because the drafting deadline was passed.
Yeah, the drafting request deadline has passed, but for us to actually draft the bills, it's Monday. But to request on-time bills, that has passed. That was Tuesday at 6.
Well, it seems like you're safe, Senator Young. Delegate Karen Young, you had something about a transportation issue.
No, I just put in the chat that we need to put that transportation priority list on the agenda, but I think somebody stated that after I put the comment in the chat.
All right. Okay. Any other comments? All right, moving on. The capital budget briefing. Any comments on that? Delegate Kerr, I don't want to put you on the spot. You and I talked about this a little bit last night.
Oh, we were asked if we would like to receive a briefing on the capital budget related to Frederick County. Just thought we'd bring it up today to see if that's something that we want to avail ourselves of.
All right. Any comments on that? Well, Delegate Kerr.
I'm trying to bring up, I have the email here. It says past year's Department of Legislative Services is available to provide local fiscal briefing on the level of state funding in the proposed state budget for fiscal 2023 and projected local revenue trends for the current fiscal year. If your delegation is interested in receiving a local briefing, please contact us. The updated state aid information will be available Friday, January 28th. The fiscal briefing may be scheduled anytime after that date. And that's from Valerie Monroe, Policy Analyst at DLS.
All right. Any further insight, comments?
Just, is this something that we want to schedule for a future agenda?
What's your pleasure on that?
I don't recall us doing this in the past.
Well, that doesn't necessarily mean we can't, but if that's the purview of the committee.
Mr. Chair.
Senator.
I don't remember a briefing on the capital budget, but what I do remember us doing is, if people want, they brought up what their bond initiatives were, and that's happened in the past, but I leave it up to all of you to decide. I think Senator Young and I have just we've worked together and done our thing in the Senate. So, but that's all we've kind of done on the capital budget in the past, was just talk about legislative bond initiatives.
Yes, Karen Young.
I think it would be nice if we put it on the agenda and share with each other what bond initiatives we're bringing forward. I know I've been asked in the past, do I support the Frederick County delegation request? And it's nice to know what they are before I'm asked that question.
All right.
Mr. Chair, I move that we accept the invitation and schedule this for a future delegation meeting.
All right. Is there a second floating around?
Second.
All right. As I normally do, please restate, Delegate Kerr, so we can vote on this.
I move that we accept the invitation from the Department of Legislative Services to receive a capital budget briefing.
All right, discussion. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Another landslide. Okay, good. Thank you, Delegate Kerr. Any other comments before we move on? All right. The next item on the list, that is to say the Frederick County Delegation Agenda List, is the, are there any delegation comments that you all have at the moment? Delegate Cox, you have no comments? I don't want to put you on the spot here, Delegate.
I think I'm
You're okay.
speechless. I'm good. Thank you.
If you're speechless, we should have that recorded as part of the record.
There it is.
Delegate Pippi?
I was just, we've been through this like a bunch of times in previous years.
Yeah.
Just the ground rules for the bills. So if we bring them in next Friday, if we have them drafted and we vote on them, I guess what, like if 5 members vote in the affirmative, then the chair takes that to the clerk and then puts it as a delegation bill. Is that kind of, and then if there's 5 affirmative votes, then members are not, I guess, putting forward local bills, because we have to have a letter, like each delegation, each chair of a committee usually requires a letter of support. I mean, everyone's been through this before, but we have not talked about it. So I don't know if we want to just go over that now as kind of a ground rule, because if there's some bills that are put forward next week that, we don't all support, there needs to be, I guess, an understanding that someone's not going to kind of unilaterally try to put in a local bill without the support of the delegation. I mean, I'm not saying that would happen, but it's happened in the past, so we should probably talk about it, I guess.
All right.
Well,
Senator.
we do that separately by house. I mean, I can tell you on the Senate side, they just want to know what the 2 of us think. And I'm sure on the House side, they're more interested in what you all think. And so it can't be passed unless both sides pass it anyhow. So I think the Senate side does it and the House side doesn't. That doesn't mean we can't still discuss it as a delegation.
All right. Any other comments? Delegate Cox?
Well, I just wanted to reiterate what Delegate Pippi just said, and that is, I think the problem that we found was that when it goes into drafting and it says delegation on the header, when we haven't actually authorized that kind of drafting, it just looks odd, particularly if, even though we might vote on it later, particularly if it, percolates with that header. And then later, I think in one past instance, it was then manually changed later, but still it was a issue where that header was listed and was publicly available, at least through the delegation meeting, as if it was a approved bill. So that's the only thing.
Mr. Chair, I suggest that anyone who has a bill that fits this criteria, send that to your office and we can compile those and publish them on the next agenda.
All right. Any other comments?
And could you copy the delegation, Mr. Chair?
Yeah, go ahead. Yes.
And if we could just copy everybody else too, because sometimes getting the bills a little, right before the meeting makes a little bit of a crunch. So the more time we have to read would be great.
Senator Young again, sir. Okay, I thought you had your hand up. Any other comments? All right. Well, let's move on then, shall we? I have here next on the agenda are any public comments, but I think we're lacking the public.
We are still working out the logistics for how we will allow for public comment, and we'll have that sorted out by next meeting and make that information public as well.
Right. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, any other business that you wish to present? Really?
Move to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, I'll second it. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Take care. We're adjourned. Good.